don't you want an argument for why there is a law?
No.
Max Karson says the age of consent should be 17.
So I think it makes sense to raise the age of consent, the bottom of the acceptable age of consent by a year, the age of consent by a year. But so I think the places where it's 16 should probably go up to 17. But
Thad Russell points out that Max has no reason for his position.
16's okay. I don't think it's a huge deal, but that's kind of where I think 17 to me strikes me as like the right number. Or 18. 17 or 18.
I just haven't heard a reason for why 17 is the right age.
It just fucking seems like it.
Max explains that laws are all arbitrary and don't ever really have a reason other than, quote, we don't like it, unquote.
I don't think to make something illegal, I don't think we need to know why.
This is batshit crazy.
Like, you can go to a really like existential place and be like, well, why is anything illegal? Like you can keep saying why and why and why and why. Ultimately, at the end of the line of questioning, it's just going to be because we don't like it.
Max pretends to be a very thoughtful guy, and he understands how terrible laws are made. But he hasn't even started to think about how we can make laws good. You know, so that laws benefit society. Jaywalking, for example.
I just don't think that's how we make laws in general. So then asking me to justify this law in a way where other laws are, like you could say jaywalk. Why is jaywalking illegal? Because it causes car crashes. Why don't you want to cause car crashes? What's wrong with causing car crashes? Because people don't like getting in car crashes.
No, Max. Car crashes are bad because they seriously injure people. Sometimes they kill people or cripple them for life. That's in addition to the sizable financial damage they cause. A parking ticket is not the same as a murder conviction. We punish people according to the severity of the crime. Things which cause more damage, like arson, beating, and killing people, quite rightfully, get more severe punishments. Giving people the death penalty or even decades in prison for driving with a broken taillight is insane. It is very destructive when a society uses victimless crimes to create victims by inflicting disproportionately cruel punishments. If your so-called crime harms no one, it simply should not be a crime. If your age of consent law is sending people to prison for decades, despite the fact that no one was harmed by making love, that law is causing far more harm than good. It's bizarre and absurd that Max pretends not to know that. It's insane that Max wants to discuss what the law should be, while simultaneously refusing to consider what, if any, harm the crime causes. In discussions about the age of consent, people often forget that arresting, jailing, indicting, prosecuting, and imprisoning a person is extremely harmful. Not just to the accused, but also to their family. Putting people on a sex offender registry for life is also extremely harmful to the convicted, and to their wives and children. So it's pretty fucking vile of Max to say, it's not a big deal.
I don't think it's a huge deal.
It's a very big deal. Laws that destroy people's lives require a damned good reason to do so. Unless you can prove that the crime committed is more harmful than the punishment meted out, it is morally abhorrent to support that law. Anyone with a brain can see that the way to judge a law is to ask the simple question: does this law do more harm than good? Max feels that maybe some 16-year-olds he knows aren't ready for sex.
I've also known 16-year-olds who I don't really think are ready for sex, and maybe they do need a law to protect them.
With no psychological training, and with zero evidence that those 16-year-olds would be harmed by consensual love-making, he supports incarceration. It's appallingly stupid. Max's reason for putting people on a sex offender registry, for life, is quote, it just fucking seems like it, unquote.
It just fucking seems like it.
That's the lamest piece of shit argument I've ever heard. The fact is, that relationships between teens and partners significantly older than them have been studied and no harm was found. I'll put a link to the University of Massachusetts research below. Read it for yourself.
Okay, but you don't want to have some shared language, some shared understanding of why we have laws that we do, instead of just I feel this way. I don't like this thing.
That is the reason we have laws that we do.
We can do better. We can use our brains. We can get rid of stupid laws that do far more harm than good. A positive first step in that direction is to start ignoring ignorant fools like Max Karson.